name is Ariel Kousgaard. I'm a PhD student in architectural engineering. I was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, and didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to travel even within the country, but especially abroad. But in this video, I'll go over my study abroad trips and my experiences that I've had over the past few years with those study abroad trips. Through my years of working with Dr. Domush, I've had the privilege of traveling and working abroad with her for a couple different work purposes, specifically in Turkey and in Italy. Italy was a bit different, especially from the travel abroad experience, because I was actually her teaching assistant for the travel abroad class that she offers in Italy. I worked alongside her as she organized the course. I watched her organize and manage 20 undergraduate students, not only in Italy, but well before we even left the States. Many of these students hadn't even traveled abroad before, so I watched her field questions of what they had, what travel would be like, and then some. As a PhD student who wants to be a faculty member one day, it was insightful and encouraging to see a successful study abroad course. She filled most days in Italy with activities and lectures and left most nights and a couple days free for students to decide what they wanted to do with their free time. All but a few days, she would lead everyone to different sites around the city that we were in and explain things about the site, the history of it, the architecture, etc., and then allow students to explore each site on their own, give them a little bit of independence. A couple days she gave students completely free days. She would give them some sites that are around the city, maybe encourage them to go see them, and then leave it up to them what they wanted to do. So she kept track of the students and encouraged them to be a little bit independent and really absorb the culture. I heard nothing but fantastic reviews about this trip. They loved the itinerary Dr. Domush set out and the helpful hints and wisdom that she passed down from her travel experience. I remember vividly when Dr. Domush and I were traveling back to the States. A student that happened to be in the airport at the same time we were took time out of his travel and approached us and thanked her for the fantastic trip that we had. I also had a fantastic time on this trip. I learned a lot and just had a great time. It was really helpful traveling around Italy rather than staying in one place. Traveling around Italy gave me the confidence later on to travel throughout a country on my own, so that was a great experience. Most of my trips with Dr. Domush and study abroad experience has been to Turkey. The project I work on with Dr. Domush is located on the southern coast of Turkey. We're investigating a collapsed Roman temple and in the process of partially rebuilding it. So in 2011, 2013, 2014, and this year, I've traveled with Dr. Domush to work on the project site. The first year, in 2011, I had never traveled abroad before and didn't really know what to expect. Luckily, Dr. Domush answered any questions I had and actually set up our international travel, making things a little bit easier to handle. It was also easier to handle this particular year because it was funded by NSF IRES grant, so that took care of some other stress of being funded. However, with all of the preparing that we did, nothing could have really set me up for the culture shock I experienced for my first trip abroad. You can research and read about other countries, but there's absolutely nothing like being there. Besides the language difference, several things can be different in a foreign country compared to life here in the States. Everything from the food to the body language, what time and how long your dinner lasts. Because of this, potential to learn life lessons is incredible. The trips I've taken to Turkey are a bit different from the Italy study abroad that I did with Dr. Domush. These trips to Turkey involve working on site for a few weeks. And the site is located about 20 minutes from a small town in southern Turkey, which is where we stay. So being in a small town, we're really immersed in the Turkish culture. We really learn the food, the culture, and even a little bit of the language. We get up really early in the morning and work until early afternoon before it gets really hot. Then the rest of the day we work, sleep, get to know the town. Our lunches are always provided on site, so it's fantastic to get a real homemade, authentic Turkish food for lunch every day. I know in some instances, traveling abroad, you don't really get the authentic experience in the tourist destinations, but I knew in this case we got the authentic experience. Getting to experience all this, I really appreciate different cultures and ways of living more and more each time that I go to Turkey. The first year that I went to Turkey, Dr. Domush actually set up a few days for myself and my fellow students to travel through Istanbul, Turkey, and Antalya, Turkey. She wanted to give us a full cultural experience in the Turkish culture and give us a little bit of a time to adjust to the culture before putting us in a small town on the southern coast of Turkey. We love being able to adjust a little bit and also seeing the numerous historic sites that Istanbul had to offer. The past couple of years, Dr. Domish has encouraged me to branch out and see other parts of Turkey before and after our fieldwork. She gave me a few areas that were popular in Turkey and let me decide from there where I wanted to go. From previous trips with her, especially in Italy, I'd gained the confidence to travel on my own and really set up my own itinerary. So one year I went to an area called Cappadocia, and another year I went to Izmir and traveled to a few ancient cities around Izmir. I have loved being able to explore parts of Turkey, and without my trips abroad for research, I wouldn't be able to do that. Every year I travel abroad, I learn something about myself and other people. It's incredible to meet people from all walks of life and hear their story. It's incredible to see other parts of the world and really be able to absorb it, rather than just looking at pictures online or in a book. Sometimes it's hard to absorb what you really see because traveling can be a whirlwind, especially when we're working on site like we are in Turkey. But Dr. Domish has taught me to balance life in these trips. I often go for hikes or a run or swim in the Mediterranean after spending a good portion of the day working. These times really let the fact that I'm in another part of the world sink in. After all, here in Nebraska, I can't exactly sit and stare at an ocean as the sun sets. The study abroad trips I've taken have taught me countless life lessons about life, work, travel. Because of the travel abroad opportunities I've had, I'm excited to see other parts of the world. Without taking advantage of travel abroad experiences opportunities, I'm honestly not sure I'd be the person that I am today. Traveling abroad has certainly changed my outlook on life and how I appreciate other cultures. If younger students ever ask me about study abroad opportunities, I always encourage them to go if possible and see other parts of the world and experience other cultures because I've had such an incredible experience with it. It's something I wouldn't trade for anything.